Thank you, Connie.
Just out of curiosity, is anybody familiar with the tool, geoOttawa? Like, you're free to open your microphones. It's a very casual session. Is anybody familiar with the tool?
A little bit. We've used it a little bit.
I would have, Peter, I would have thought you'd be familiar with it in your line of work.
When I was shopping around for a house, I used it a lot so I could make my own assessment of flood risk and that kind of thing, where schools are, bicycle routes.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Exactly. You'll be able to add what you've learned on it too if I happen to skip something that you found very useful.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I find very, very useful that you just can't get from Google Map, etc., is the floodplain map, which is incredibly important down here. I live in the flood zone, so and during the flooding, this was very valuable just to see what a 100-year flood would look like, if, you know, if it happened. So it was extremely helpful.
Okay, so I guess I'll start. And I'm going to turn my camera off, but my microphone will be on. So I just wanted to, so the link, again, the link is in the chat, and I sent it with the emails. Again, you're all welcome to look at it or play with it while we're going through this kind of overview. And so what I'm going to start with is going through, in general, the overview of the icons that you're seeing on the screen. Oh, does everybody see the screen?
I do, yes.
Yes, so everybody's seeing geoOttawa?
Does everybody know how to get to it?
Yep.
Okay. So right. Some of the features are just like Google. So if you click on your mouse and just hold it, you can move around, you can move the map around, right? If you want to go somewhere else and you let go and you click down just like you're grabbing it. So that's a tool that works. Also the zoom, I think most people are familiar with the zooming in and zooming out. The plus is zooming in, the minus is zooming out. And so it starts by showing the whole city. And this little icon here, as you can see, if you hover, in other words, you don't click, if you just put your cursor over the icon, it tells you what it is. So this globe, just if you click on it, it'll give you the view of the entire city. Okay, and this one, you have to set it up. It'll go to my location. This one is for Street View. We'll go to it. I'll show you how to use it later. It's better to have an actual address. This one is going to the previous location, next location that you've already put in your history. This one is like a shortcut to see all the zoning information. A lot of people are interested in zoning information, so we're going to go through that later. You can bookmark, print. It's a PDF. You can actually print what you're looking at. This is, you can get the coordinates. You know, if you go at the bottom of your screen, you'll see coordinates, like map coordinates. You can actually get them and feed them in. And this one is to, you can play and draw and measure using the map. But we won't go through those things today because the fun stuff really, to begin, is on this side of the screen, on the right hand of the screen. So an important one is, of course, the information. The eye will show like what everything is, which is great. So if whatever we do today, if you forget, just go to the eye and it'll tell you what all the icons are, map, navigation, and if you have accessibility challenges, it tells you how to get to them. So it's all here. So this is the important one for everything because it'll remind you how to get there. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? I guess it depends how quick everybody's internet is to see it. Again, hopefully everybody can see the shared screen. Okay, so again, this is the legend. This is base map gallery, and we'll go through it later. Timeline, which is fun. With aerial photos, it shows over time. So there's photos that can show you over the time of our history in Ottawa. And this will show you a property report, parcel geometry, things you could see near here, and additional maps that we can go quickly through at the end. Okay, so what I normally do first is this base map gallery is important. This is what do you want, how do you want to view your map? If you want it like a satellite view or a colored view, they have different choices. This one shows with streets. This one's gray, this one's in color. If you open it up, you can choose which one. I normally choose this one, which is the full color. I'm going to put an address here to just zoom in of a development that's coming to Bayward soon, 100 Bayshore. So you can enter that in the address bar at the top and enter. And as you can see, it zooms in. Any questions? So this is Bayshore. As you know, there's going to be a high rise, an apartment high rise of 32 floors that's going to be built in the next couple of years, Councillor. I think it's the next couple of years.
They haven't given us a date. We have to see when the site plan is submitted. So, but I think it'll take a couple of years at this point.
So you can see how it zoomed right into that part, and it went to the address, and it says here, show more results. So if you click on that, that's if it wasn't able to find it well, it'll show you other options that you can use to go to the actual address you wanted. Here, this is the other very important one, is layer list. So if you click on this, this is the funnest part. I don't know if you agree, Councillor, is you got to decide, what do you want to see? Okay, do you want to see all these things you can choose to see on your map? You can see the zoning resources, forestry, tree inventory, woodlot, like all these things are available, the streets.
Let's look at the tree inventory just for fun.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I have to click the highest level here to actually show it. And if you all can see that, I wonder if you click on it. Sometimes if you click on it, no. So here it shows the green is a tree, and blue a Dutch, oh, I don't know what that is, Dutch rig, arbotac tree. So this is the agenda, not the agenda, the legend. So it's kind of cool. So if I zoom out, so you see the city has marked, oh, so you have to go a certain distance. The city has marked where they have, I guess, the important trees that they want to make sure they keep track of. Does anybody have an area they'd like to look at?
Yeah, maybe
can you zoom in a bit more?
Sure.
You want to go into Glaber Park?
Well, I'm just curious, as I zoom in, I see kind of fuzzy round green boundaries, and then I see green points. And there's not always a point in the boundary. So I'm just wondering what that signified.
Well, I have to look into it, but they don't inventory every single tree, only the mature trees, like trees that they need to keep track of. But if it's just like a sapling or only like 5 centimeters diameter, it wouldn't be on here.
Yeah, what is the criteria? Centimeters?
I don't know what the criteria is to inventory it because they've changed what they're calling a mature tree, which is it in effect now, the new tree bylaw?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've decreased the circumference to what is considered a mature tree that they want to protect, so that they'll be able to protect more trees. And yeah, and if we leave the tree there and we want to look at the parcels, it comes out in yellow. So it shows if you have where you live, if you want to see how you're parceled out for tax purposes, this is the actual measurements of your area, or well, everybody's area. If you're wondering what the
yeah, they even mentioned urban tree bylaw boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have it running back now.
Yeah, I can turn that on. Of course, it's probably a greater layer. Tree protection bylaw effective January 1st. Citywide municipal trees. Woo! Yeah. So other choices you could view here are road cycling infrastructure. Okay, you could see all the paths. I'm going to zoom out. And you can see in pink, it's showing like the different bike lanes. This is the legend. So you just click on the legend button, you'll see what does orange mean, what does pink mean. So you could see that. And also we had another meeting and they were discussing, oh yes, the winter maintenance meeting. They were talking a lot about the winter maintenance of the winter maintenance, like the network of cycle paths in the winter. And as you can see, that you could actually have it highlighted what paths and bicycling paths are maintained during the winter. So you can select to see that. So the winter one, I think the orange is this thick orange, I believe, is the winter one. Yeah, multi-use winter maintained cycling network. So the thick orange line is the ones that are maintained in the winter.
Well, that's useful to know.
Yeah, it's great.
Nothing out here, unfortunately. It's mostly the main corridor, but it's still, it's still good to know. By the way, if anyone's interested in cycling, I'm always interested to hear about your concerns about missing links of getting places by bicycle. I've been in touch with the city about, we'll have a meeting about it, but anything that you see as sort of glaring as, why it makes it difficult for you to use your bike because you can't get from A to B because of a certain link that is missing. So just throwing that out to let people know about it. That that's something we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, another good interesting thing is the solid waste collection calendar is also on here. Tells you Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, Monday, like all kinds of stuff here. And one thing that's near and dear to our hearts, of course, is the Rail Implementation Office. It's a bit confusing, but that is the LRT map. So it's under Rail Implementation Service. So this is where you get the map of where the stations are going to be.
They haven't updated the name yet because that Cleary should be.
That's
now
right.
Be,
it's
going to be Sherborne.
That's right. So this is the layer list. So it's very fun and yeah, this is why I wanted to share it with everybody because there's so much information you can get from here. Now, if I go to the property parcels, put that back on. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
On this, it came up to me with the cycling. Does that include NCC controlled versus Ottawa controlled?
Let's look at the layers.
Yes, because what they were showing for the winter clear was along the canal. So.
And that's NCC. Okay.
That's NCC.
I don't know which is why I asked to see if anything was missing, kind of thing from my perspective.
Yeah. Yes. No, they included. They obviously have an agreement with the NCC, but they've got the bike path along the Queen Elizabeth Drive is maintained.
Do they actually identify it as NCC? They don't. it's just bike paths. Yeah, and it is like they do have it all listed here. You're right, it's all NC.
So I have a question from when I was looking at it. What is a mature neighborhood?
Councilor, did you want to take that up, or?
The mature neighborhood, obviously an older neighborhood, but but there is I'd rather give you the textbook definition of it, because with the official plan, that this is the language they're using now, versus what they're looking at for the future. Mature, obviously it's an older neighborhood, and where they want to identify that it's got character.
Yes, and I believe that designation will be disappearing with the new plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's one of the things, because the official plan, which I have a copy of here, it looks like a telephone book, and the terminology will be changing in terms of inner urban, outer urban, downtown, but mature is what we're using now. And I don't want to try and define it for you. I need the textbook definition so I don't make a boo-boo. But they might have it there. If you type in mature neighborhood, it should take you to the zoning page. My internet is not working on my other computer again. This is a ongoing thing.
Actually, is that under planning? I'm looking for it. There's so much. Where was it again? Is it under zoning? Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, well, in search for the neighborhood, where it says find, under search for layers, type it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, where it says mature neighborhood overlay, zone sujet. Anyways, that's in French. Is there anything? Let's clean it up a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, mature, and then like mature neighborhood overlay. No, I guess it's all part of zoning there.
Okay, so what does that mean? It doesn't matter if it's disappearing.
Well, as the councillor said, it's an older neighborhood that's been around for quite a while, and yeah, you're right. I'd rather. Are you looking it up, councillor?
It's defining it as an older neighborhood that is probably going to get intensification. So when they look at the they're looking at keeping the characters of the neighborhood. So that's the term they're using, and I'm really bad at the technical terms, but anyway.
Okay, and if we zoom in, go ahead.
I'm just noticing, for example, I'm on cycling plan right now. I've gone to Kingsmere Park, which is where I live beside. But so if you click on the higher up check mark, it doesn't automatically activate everything within. You still have to click within the layers. Does that make sense the way I said that?
Well, depending on what options. Yes, I know what you mean. Like often the options are already clicked, but if the parent, the highest level is not clicked, you won't see anything. So if you got to click the higher or the highest level, like the category, I suppose, as for example, you were looking at which part? Cycling, right?
I'm looking at cycling plan.
Yeah. So the cycling, you first have to click on the highest level, and then you expand it, and then anything that's not clicked will not show. So you have to then click what you want to see specifically. Like when I look at mine, I don't have, the cycling plan is not clicked. So if I check it, then it'll show the cycling plan.
And so, the part that excited me was that green line that goes over the highway. Because I've been loving to see something like that for decades. and I didn't think there was any chance of it ever happening.
Yes,
So
that's the LRT actually. There's going to be an overpass, a pedestrian overpass from, well, you see exactly where it's going to be. So that'll be in the next few years. That the Queensview overpass going to the Queensview station, there's going to be a pedestrian. So
I was talking about the Hare Avenue, the Kingsmere Park to
oh, Kingsmere,
Garfield
okay,
Park,
sorry.
I think it's called.
Kingsmere.
No, you're right in the center of your map.
Oh, right in the center, okay.
That green line that goes over the number 417.
Oh, it's because I saw Queen's Grove. Okay, I was mixing it up with Queen's View. Okay.
No, Queen's Grove is
right there
on the other side. Is in Glaber Park.
Your mouse was right on.
Yeah. Sorry, I was mixing it up with Queen's View on the other side here. Yeah. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So when I clicked on neighborhood bikeways under cycling plan, that popped up. So if I wanted to learn about that,
yeah, actually, let's see, green, what does it mean? It's coming soon. Let's see. Green. Neighborhood bikeways. Pathway link. Dark green. Major pathway. There is another map that shows infrastructure that's planned in the next few years. That would be another map we could look at to see if there's what is planned. And when you click on if you click on it the way I'm showing here, it'll actually show you if there's something planned. At the end, we can go look at that and see if it gives us the information. If not, of course, send us an email and we'll ask about it. But it might actually be available on another interactive map. But that would be cool. I don't recall hearing about it, councillors, right? Like about something being built there?
No, I don't have anything.
And the other overpass is further east, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
no
further overpasses. I know, Peter, that you've been working on about Woodruff. And the province had given an okay about Maitland, and then, but it was the previous government, and then when the new government came in, it got kiboshed about working with the overpass at Maitland, and that would have been great too, which would have been helpful for Glaber Park, and it got squished, and I think that it's worth keeping after the province on that. But it's a big gap for north-south. The only underpass is at Clyde through the industrial park. That's the nearest one.
Yeah. I actually literally just sent an email about that.
Oh, yes. Amy? Is that Amy?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw it. And I used to live on Sherbourne for 15, that's where I raised my sons. So I know it well. And yes, we have, and I want a sidewalk too on the other side. It's on the list, but it's not, I know I'm pushing on it on the idea that because of the stage 2 LRT, we need more walkability. That's my angle. But because it's already got a sidewalk, it's not high on the list. I'm pushing though, because it was my pet peeve when I lived there. But you're right about the cycling, because you put in cycling lanes on two sides and on Sherbourne, and then you can't go on Maitland. And I just had a meeting on Friday with the cycling coordinator for the city, talking about that actually, and how can you cross over, because there's a couple of gaps. There's a gap there, but there's also the gap further up where Leinster ends, and you're trying to get across.
Yeah.
To if you crossed over there and go into Duncan Place, I think it is. Somehow, then you go on side streets because you can't go on Carling. So you can't go on Carling, you can't go on Maitland. So what do you do? Now I have my routes that I've taken. I definitely wouldn't go on Carling. So there's back routes you can take. But anyway,
the other thing, yeah, so that's basically layers. So that is really something to explore and have fun with. The other thing to have a lot of fun with is this aerial photo slider.
Yeah. But just to let you know, Amy, I'm going to send your email, because I just talked to the coordinator on Friday, your email to him, just to back up exactly what we were saying anyway, but as another person who knows that this is a problem.
Well, it would just be nice to be able to access up across to the NCC trails that can then take you up to baseline.
That's right. And they recognize that too. It's a conundrum. And part of it was that Maitland was supposed to be looked at for a bike lane on the side of the overpass. And the problem with overpasses is they're not our property, they're the province's.
Yeah.
The province controls overpasses, and they backed out of coming through on making it more of a bike safety. They spend lots of money on widening the goddamn Queensway, pardon me, but they didn't want any money to put in bike lanes. So sorry, this shouldn't have come out, but it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, we live on Maitland, and it's the worst place to bike with our 4-year-old and our soon-to-be 2-year-old, like trying to get down to Sherbourne and then up over the pass to get to the bike paths.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
Yes, I have. You know, I used to cycle with my kids all the time. They're grown up now. This is years ago, but I have all these routes, the convoluted routes around to get through there. So I know exactly what you're saying, because that's what I've been through for many years. But that's part of what we're looking at. What's the safest, best way to make it so people can use the cycle to where they want to go? And that's what they're collecting, is the missing links. They're going to be doing a report in June, so it's still possible to put things in to that report. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, even making the sidewalks like on Churchill, where it's a mixed use sidewalk bike on Maitland would make it a little safer. But the problem is that the sidewalk on the bridge is so narrow.
Yeah,
you can hardly walk 2 people. So then if you add bikes, it's pretty dangerous.
Yes, on Maitland.
Yeah.
Yes, my son used to bike to Putnam, and which was pretty crazy that I let him do that. It's both of them, but that's what they used to do. So I'm quite aware. And one of them had got bumped by a car on an off-ramp, on an on-ramp coming out once. So he's fine. He grew up fine, but that scared the hell out.
Yeah, keep abreast of counselors has a working group putting together about cycling. So we'll keep you informed of everything. So if we go back to our map, I just want to cover a few things before we end, is this very cool feature that goes back in time. And you can see what aerial view that they have. So if I go to 1928, and just give it a few minutes to load up. There's probably not much in that area. Where was I? I was
it was a golf course.
Oh, maybe it's not complete. Let's go to.
I have a question also about the biking. Just wondering, I was just looking at the bike map plan, and I was wondering, when the LRT is done, where the bike route will be for folks on Richmond, near where I live. Now it's blocked, and I just didn't see any line there in terms of where a bike route will be, whether on Byron or Richmond. I was wondering how I could find out about that.
That's something we're working on, Ollie. Right now, obviously, it's a construction zone. And
but when it's finished.
Yeah, there's two complications for Richmond Road. One, the LRT, but the other one is they're also doing sewer work at the same time. So we were looking to have Byron as an alternate route to Richmond, but we can't because they're using Byron for the sewer work. So, but once the sewer work is done, we can use Byron for an alternate. And that's what we're—
That's the plan?
Yeah, but it's more complicated than that. We have to find a way of cross that intersection. So they are working on it. We have something that will probably be worked out. I can't announce it yet because it's still, it's about going through a private property where we've got their permission to go through. So it will, well, I'll tell you, it's the funeral home. So that we can, that way we can divert, so you will not have to use the intersection. They'll be, anyway, it'll be made safer, because that's for a bike route. But I should get, I'm diverting Connie.
So just a quick note, once the LRT is pretty much, the construction there is finished, Richmond in quite a big area will be a complete street, which will include cycling paths and stuff like that. That is definitely in the plan for when they redo Richmond, which is after the LRT. So it's in the plan. And I think it's part of the budget as well. So for sure it's going to happen.
Great.
Okay, so I showed everybody about going back in time. That's a lot of fun. The parcel geometry. If you ever wondered like how big a parcel is, okay, you could just click on that and it'll give you the measurements of the parcel. Okay, this is the park. I guess it's Kingsmere Park. Or no, it's not. Which park? No, this must be a school.
No, it's Kingsmere Park.
Oh, it is Kingsmere? Okay, it's near the 417?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, oh, okay, cool. And the other thing that's, let's go to the zoning, which I want to make sure I show everybody. Choosing zoning. You can go do it this way or the shortcut right here, zoning information. We'll give you that information as well. If you click on it, you can view the property report, okay? And the property report will give you lots of information about that specific parcel. It'll give you, of course, the address, the measurement, the garbage and recycling collection calendar. It also gives you the zoning information here. It's 01. So if you link to the bylaw text, that's where they tell you what is 01. So it's parks and open space zone. So this is where you get the shortcuts to get the information. If you're wondering what that zoning is, that's how you get there. Now, R1GG right here. I get the property report for that. And R1GG is residential zone, residential first density zone. So that's how you can find out. And if you're wondering what the GG, if you scroll down, it starts telling you what the letters mean and everything. I guess if you're really into zoning, if you want to go into the details, you just scroll down and it'll give you everything. Subzones, and it'll talk about, there's the GG right here. And the subzones is usually a matter of lot width. That is what gives it details. Any questions about the zoning and finding out the zoning information?
And here's the mature neighborhood overlay is pretty much back to what Ollie was asking earlier, is basically when you have low rise residential development, and it's to reflect the character of the neighborhood. So within the area of the overlay. So it's trying to keep a character of an older neighborhood that is low rise.
Thank you.
Do we know if there's plans to expand the coverage of geoOttawa? I know some of the outlying areas aren't necessarily included yet.
Well, it should be all of what's considered Ottawa. Which area were you like?
Or I guess maybe it's just that it's not in Ottawa, but do we know if they're planning, if any of the other areas are planning to sort of build on, or is there an equivalent for, you know, like Arnprior or anything like that?
No, because it'll be, well, not likely. It'll be within the boundaries of Ottawa.
Yeah.
Because this is paid for and run by the city of Ottawa. So everything within our boundaries. So with the urban expansion, the urban boundary expansion, I mean, our boundaries are set already, but you'll see all the development within that. The big controversy right now is, you know, where they're going to expand. So all that will be in there. But once you get beyond that, no, like Russell on the outskirts, Prescott Russell, no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. They're managing the information that they're in control of, i.e. that we're responsible for.
The other thing you see on these maps, so they'll tell you like everything that's close by, like this icon on the top, it'll say what's near. So you could, you can see that you could see what's near. You can expand on your circle. So this is very cool. And so we have about
see all the things
about 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show is additional apps here. And this is what we'll probably go through if you're interested in joining the next month. Next month, we'll do it again. These are other interactive maps that you can play with. This is development applications that are going on. So if you want to see what development is being proposed in your area, you go with this map. This is geoOttawa we're looking at right now. COVID-19 in neighborhoods. Mapping of confirmed COVID-19 in Ottawa, COVID dashboard, ward boundary review. So these are all additional maps that you can look at. Traffic map, parks, self-guided bicycle tours. This one's pretty cool. Dogs in parks, construction mapping. This might be the one I was talking to Peter that we could check to see if something's planned near Kingsmere Park. If I open that. Then it'll have the interactive map here and we could look for that address to see if there's anything planned in the next few years. Let's see, Kingsmere. Don't see anything. But it doesn't mean there isn't. So Peter, if you want to send an email, we'll find out why that line was there.
Somebody got excited and just sneezed as they were drawing the line. Went further than they meant.
So what did they do? Show a line between them?
They showed a line crossing the 417 at that point.
Or tunnel, I don't know.
Actually, I should check. I wonder if it is. I wonder if they placed the other overpass at the wrong spot. I'll have to check that anyways. So yeah. So there's lots of cool stuff. I hope you found it all interesting. And if this is something you'd like other things that we talk about of what we use, the tools we use for work. Like next month, I'd like to go through some of those other maps that are fun. And then the month after, something about the crime map that maybe you've heard of. I'd like to go through that and how to use it, how to find it. Are these things you'd be interested in?
Any idea if there's a way to overlay community association maps on here?
That's a good question.
That would be really helpful.
Yeah, the neighborhood, were you peeking to see if there was something about neighborhoods on here? Neighborhood, community, Ottawa yeah, I was looking for that the other day. That would be a good idea.
Yeah, but part of it is there's areas that don't have community associations.
Mm-hmm.
But that's sort of why I was asking. I'm in an area that doesn't really have a community association. So seeing the map would be, I'm on Maitland on the east side. So the triangle of Maitland, Caroline, Queens, and the Queensway doesn't have a community.
Okay, right. That's an area that's going to be part of Bayward after 2022.
Yep.
That is something, I'm working with an area right now in a different part of the ward that didn't have a community association. And the first thing they're doing is they started up a Facebook group, because it wasn't, just have one person talk to a few neighbors, started up a Facebook group, and that brought people together because they didn't have a connection before. Mm-hmm. But just that is a good first step. And then people talk to each other, find out what they have in common, what they want to discuss as a group. And it's very helpful.
Yeah, it gives us the opportunity also of publishing things that are happening in the ward, like meetings and and all that. The last thing I'd just like to show before we go, we're almost finished, is this through GeoMaps, you can access a Street View, Google Street View. You just click on this and then click on the address, and then it'll open a separate page with the Street View. And what's good about that is that you can easily go back to your map. So this is a Street View that you can toggle between two maps. So they're using the Google functionality a little bit here, because I don't think anybody else has pictures all over. Well, that's it. I'm finished. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Very interesting.
You're welcome.
I will ask about the community association if they can put the maps up on that.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah, we can ask them to include that. But like I said, there will be gaps because we have lots of gaps throughout our community of places that just never formed a community association, because some community associations sometimes die out. Because no one's running them. That's something to watch for as well, that they couldn't get anyone to represent or whatever. So then they may peter out for a while, and then they come back because there's some issue that they want to get together on. So usually it's something that brings people together, right? Of issues in common. So, and in my neighborhood, it's very low key, and what brought everyone together was the fact that we're in a flood zone, and that was a cohesive of everybody having something in common they were concerned about. So, and especially during the 2019 flooding. So, yeah, so if you want to talk to us about that, we can help you, encourage you to, if you're interested in doing it, just start a Facebook group for and come up with a name for your area. And that will be a good starting point.
And I know, for example, the Glaber Park group, there are people from the boundaries of our neighborhood who are part of our group as well, because a lot of the issues are sort of shared outside. So definitely talk to the people in those groups as well.
No, for sure. Yeah, I helped McKellar Park do Tilbury Park because that's the park we go to. But it would just be neat to be able to see that on the maps. Because I mean, if you're considering moving, being able to see what community association and look up how active they are or whatever would be cool.
That's an interesting idea. But the thing is that it will be gaps, and the information is constantly changing. For example, you might want to click on who do I get a hold of, but if, like I said, the community association hasn't been keeping up to date, you're constantly updating. So somebody has to be responsible for that. So that's the,
I'll find out.
Yeah, that's the little catch. Actually, I know my husband would be interested in that because he's president of the Federation of Citizens Associations. So I should run that by him, because that's the umbrella group for all the community associations of Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he'd be interested in ask him if that ever came up, or if they made a formal proposal, because they'd be representing all the organized community associations. It's a good question.
Okay, so I guess say ta-ta for now, I guess.
All right. Yeah, no, thank you for coming out. I really appreciate everyone coming out and picking up information to help you learn about the city.
And sharing it with your organizations and your associations. That would be great.
Yes, or your neighbors or friends. It's helpful. But let us know if you need any help on that, Amy.
Sure. Yeah, I think Sybil from McKellar Park said, I guess there's some people maybe trying to start one, so I'll get in touch with them. But I was just thinking it'd be cool to be able to see all the spots, and then you would be able to easily see the gaps.
Yes, that's a good point. I would have to, I just have to ask myself what's behind it, because the city would, things can change. The boundaries maybe not, but it's just the contact information or any information that you would have beyond the border is constantly changing. And who keeps that up, and how do they keep it up? Because it's not like it's a formal thing that the city can control. They can't. It's third party, as it were. So that's the only thing I can see being a hiccup. But maybe they can just put the boundaries. I don't know. So, but worth asking for sure. I like that idea.
When does the city decide they need to refly a new airborne campaign? I'm assuming this is all air photos, right? Airplane photos?
Oh, you're looking at the timeline.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, they
I
probably
noticed
don't need
the
to do
timeline
it.
was.
Yeah, they don't need to do
the
it anymore.
Timeline was stars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like what do the stars mean?
The stars mean they don't cover the whole city of Ottawa property, is my assumption.
Yeah, I don't know what the asterisk means. Maybe
you must know more about this than we do, Peter.
For those who don't know, my job is to do this sort of thing from satellite, but always in rural areas, not urban.
Peter works at remote sensing.
Oh yes, well, from the information, the eye icon, it says that the asterisk denotes, as you said, Peter, incomplete coverage. So yeah, and it's additional imagery will be added in the future as made available from the city. So yeah, it's fun though. It's fun to look at that empty area.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks, Peter. I know you have a lot of knowledge on this, so it's good to hear from you on that.
Well, I guess since we have everybody, Councillor, we can tell them about the 417 interchange meeting.
Yeah.
On the 2nd of March.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing the city will put on once it's official, but we're giving you a meeting. They're still finalizing all the dates. That's why we're not distributing the information yet. But the 417 on-ramps and off-ramps, different ones will be closed with the construction of the LRT. So that will not affect Woodruff, but it will affect Pinecrest, and it will affect Holly Acres, and it will affect Moody. Those are the three main ones that are, and Bayshore, pardon me, 4. So there's 4 main intersections that will be affected. I think that this is a blessing in disguise with COVID being on right now, because it would cause chaos otherwise with commuting. But it has to be done because the LRT is running parallel to the Queensway, and therefore at certain points they have to close while they do the work, and then they put it back once they finished it. So that's what we're having a meeting for. And it's on February 16th at 6:30. And it's a Zoom meeting, of course, these days. But it'll be very informative. So we'll have city staff there. We'll have LRT staff just to explain detour routes, etc.
Yeah, the information is available online. So I was just looking for the link. I don't have it on hand to share it, but it is, well.
Yeah, it's all on the
bulletin.
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 Okay. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Peter. Take care.